Hi, it's Amy with Intuitive Coaching with Amy Radio, and this is your sacred space for spirituality, intuition, manifestation, metaphysical wisdom, and personal development. All right, I want to talk again about chemicalization. I just had another client go through it, and I think it's worth revisiting. It's a concept from Unity that I think every manifestor should know and be aware of. Unity defines chemicalization as the conflict that takes place when a higher spiritual realization comes into contact with an old state of consciousness. In other words, when you begin introducing new beliefs, such as you're doing a visualization, you're doing some affirmations, you're scripting, your old beliefs don't always disappear with ease. They resist. That's chemicalization. I think this is one of the reasons so many people struggle with their manifestations, and manifestations go too slowly. You start affirming, meditating, you're visualizing, you're praying, you're hopeful, you're believing in the best, you're expecting your result, and then all of a sudden things get worse. And old fears come up, old memories come up, this weird emotional self that you've not encountered and sometimes shows up. I call all of this can be goblins, the devils, the demons. Unity calls it thieves and robbers. Everything comes up to fight against this new light that you are bringing into your being. And you're not going backwards. And from the Unity Church perspective, you're definitely not going backwards. You're experiencing chemicalization, and your new beliefs are coming in contact with your old beliefs, and the old beliefs are just resisting the change. And so Unity students have described chemicalization in many different ways. Some cry more, some become unusually emotional, some don't do what they say they're going to do. That's what I often see with coaching clients is they're like, oh yeah, I'm so pumped, I'm so jazzed, and then they don't do it. Or this happens to me too. I'll be outside and praying on something, and I'll get an insight, and then I'll go inside and I won't do it. I think that's all chemicalization. You'll feel confused. You'll feel temporarily discouraged. You'll notice that old issues surface, and you'll feel like, God, have I been healing anything? Because why am I going through this now? Again, I think every manifestor experiences this. And I think the ones who can catch it, acknowledge it, and honor themselves, honor what they're going through, and move through it are the ones that manifest rapidly. So I'll tell you this. I shared this on a podcast this week. I was trying a new practice, and I came across this practitioner on YouTube. I told you I use the socials often like a oracle. And so I prayed and said, God, bring me a new practice. So this woman shows up who took me through STAT, which I think it's STAT. It's Neville Goddard's state akin to sleep, stats. Anyway, it was for money manifestation. I was like, oh, this is fun. And you pick an amount, and then she guides you through the process, and you're seeing it in your bank account. And she framed it like, you'll manifest in 24 hours. And, everybody has a clickable title, right? And so I wasn't expecting 24 hours, but I was expecting pretty immediate. And I continued to, I did that, and I continued to do all my other practices. I was, I have a very extensive spiritual practice. And I will tell you, I had about 3 days that were like the hardest of the hard in terms of keeping myself grounded, keeping myself centered, believing when I'm not seeing anything. Like, I mean, it was like, I usually see a hummingbird, or I get some wink from the universe. Wasn't getting anything. I think that was all a part of the chemicalization. Was this spirit really there for me? And then sure enough, come Thursday, whap, it happened. So I did this on a Sunday, maybe. And then Thursday, everything, it came. The amount of money I'd been visualizing, it worked essentially. But I went through chemicalization in that process. And so it happens. Just stay with it. I think this is why it's beneficial to have a spiritual practitioner in your life that you can reach out to. Yes, every limiting belief you'll have will come up, and it's okay. It's okay. Just be with it. It doesn't mean anything about you. Doesn't mean your manifestation's not working. It's not a time to stop your practices. You know what I did? I went harder. And you'll resist wanting to even practice when you're in chemicalization. Yeah, like I had like those pushes where I'm like, ugh. But then once you move through it, you'll find that you'll know you're moving through it because all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I want to practice, and oh, I'll try this and I'll do this, and it's all working, right? So here's what I say: write out your feelings, do letters of release, pray over your feelings, release everything for your highest and greatest good. Burn the pages, submerge the pages in water, continue to forgive, keep doing your work, keep doing the affirmation, the visualization, the meditation. Stay in your faith zone as much as you can. Ask spirit for support, and don't suppress it. Let it come up. I think, again, what slows down the manifestation is when we try to suppress it, or we think it's not working, or we're going to get wrapped up in these thoughts. I will say another thing is, as you're going through chemicalization, this happened kind of by accident for me. I limited all of my media, like really. I actually even noticed a diet change. Like, it was almost like a mini fast. I was still eating, but I was fully plant-based, and I was waiting, really until, I need nourishment. It just, yeah. And I think that happens as you're moving through chemicalization instead of working against it by quitting or not wanting to do it, or feeling like, making up a story about, oh, this doesn't work when you know it does. So if you're in the middle of what feels like an emotional storm, don't automatically assume that you're out to sea. You're probably experiencing chemicalization. Keep going. Be kind and loving to yourself. Use every resource available, because I promise you, I pulled out resources during that time I haven't looked at in a while. I was reading scripture. I mean, do everything you know to do during that time, and you'll find that you'll move through it really quickly. Like I said, I went through my version of it, and it took me 3 days. Now, there have been other times when I'm going through chemicalization and I didn't name it, and I'm still working on that manifestation. So I'll leave you with that. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you already value your spiritual growth. You value the journey of a manifester, and you know that more is available to you. And sometimes the biggest challenge isn't knowing what to do, it's applying these principles consistently while moving through moments exactly like chemicalization. And that is why I created the 3-month intuitive coaching package. For 90 days, you and I work together and uncover what's holding you back. You will grow your intuition. You'll shift your thoughts, your words, your feelings, and actions so they match what you want to create. And whether you're manifesting greater income, a thriving business, love, health, or your next level of growth, I will help you recognize your next right step. Stay focused until your outer life begins to reflect what you've been sensing is possible all along. Enrollment is open now. I have 13 spots, and enrollment closes when all the spots are filled. You can visit intuitivecoachingwithamy.com, click Work with Amy, and begin the 3-month intuitive coaching package today. Thank you so much for listening. I pray it was useful. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.